You're listening to Edge Radio TV. The views and opinions expressed in this program are that of the hosts or guests, and not the Edge Radio Network or its advertisers or affiliates.
Good afternoon and welcome to How You Livin on Edge Radio TV. My name is Robin B. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm here live, but Dr. Kiva is here via Zoom. And I don't know if can they see her? Okay. Hey, Dr. Kiva.
Hey.
We miss you, but we know you're here in spirit.
Yeah, I had to stay in the clinic today.
Well, it's good to see you.
Clinic.
We found someone to keep your seat warm.
Hey, we both have on white.
Look at that. I should have wore white, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to meet our guest today, which is lots of anticipation, Mr. Riyad Abu Taha. Welcome to the show. Yeah! You are definitely... Uh-oh.
That's what I love about live TV.
We will fix that. Man About Town. Here you go. Live TV, y'all. Save your stuff. There you go. And here you go. We come prepared. So while he's doing that, I'll do a little intro on Riyad. He's the president of Freelance Media Group, which was established in 1986. It's a marketing consultant and public relations advertising company. Riyad has been around the world many, many times. He also is the founder of the Ambassadors Club. And I believe you were recognized by 7 different mayors.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. And recently, he was named the Living Legend for the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you, Robin. I appreciate you inviting me. And Robin and I go a long way. Exactly 22 years ago, we were neighbors, and I just loved about her elegance, her sophistication as a next door neighbor. And she has a very lovely young boy who was interested in our work, charity work, and event productions. And he actually volunteered a couple of times for some of our, and he did a great job. And now he's a grown-up man with a beautiful wife and children.
He is. And one thing I was telling, I think my husband about you recently is you were always very continental. So the way where we lived was a really cute courtyard. And I remember you used to put a table out like a little French cafe, and you always had a beautiful woman and a bottle of wine, and it was always really felt European.
That's one of my hidden talents. I love to cook. They call me Chef Riyad. Actually, I get auctioned off at charity events as Chef Riyad.
Okay.
And the money goes to the charity, and I go to the people that win me and to their home and fix dinner for 10 people.
That is very cool. Well, we're going to have to do
remember that.
I did not know that, but I heard you're also a crazy dancer.
Sorry?
You're apparently a friend of our GM, Oscar.
Yes.
He says that you're an amazing dancer. Is that true?
I love dancing. To me, dancing is just a great way of expression.
I had no idea.
And it's an international language.
Well, one thing I'm really impressed with is you seem to have met anybody that has a famous name. How did you do that?
Well, since I was a young kid, I love people. I just love people, and I really kind of like a copy of my mother, God rest her soul. Mm-hmm. They used to call her Lucy back home.
Okay.
But she is so friendly and she's very humorous. And she would sit down every morning at the balcony, sipping her coffee, and people would be going to work, to school. And if she sees someone that looks needy, she said, honey, come here. She'd bring them up and give them food or money, whatever, clothes. So I grew up in that kind of environment where you care about people and just nature of giving, you know?
That's awesome. So of all the famous people, I know I'm sounding a little starstruck right now. Who was the most interesting? Because I saw Jamie Foxx, Chris Rock, uh, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris. I could go on and on. So, who was your favorite celebrity?
Well, back in 1979, while I was still in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and one of our clients was called Da Vinci's, the most elegant club in town, and it was second in line after Studio 54 back in New
Okay.
York. And when Cher divorced Sonny,
Uh-huh.
she went on her first tour as a solo artist, and we had a reception for her.
Okay.
And I mean, I was so impressed. I met so many celebrities.
So,
you
is
know.
Cher your
She
favorite?
is so down to earth. She is so
Okay.
sweet, and she is so beautiful, and she's so giving. And last night, actually, she was on the Stephen Colbert show. She is still the same.
I love her. I always liked her.
Yes.
I loved a lot of her music too. So one of the things, the big reason we brought you on today is because you're one of the master communicators of our time. And that's probably was how you got through the door of a lot of places you've been to. Is so the art of communication is very important. And I understand you teach that.
Well, I teach. I teach the art of communication, and I speak on that. And it saddened me that this is the most important aspect of our life, communication.
Uh-huh.
And the sad part is not very many people know how to communicate properly, or they don't communicate at all.
Right.
And that's what causes all the problems in the world between individuals, husband
Right.
and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, partners, and
Right.
it goes to countries.
Mhm.
If we have proper communication, we will not have wars,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So it's a very, very, I mean, we have training on everything. When you go
Okay.
to get a license, driving license, you get training on how to drive
Right.
and all this, but nobody trains people how to communicate
So how
properly.
did you become such a prolific communicator? Did you go to proper training?
I come from a family of 10. I was the
Okay.
second from the bottom.
Okay.
And like any families, there's sometimes disputes, fighting, arguing,
Mhm.
and I was the peacemaker. I'm not a
Okay.
confrontation. I was always the one that sits them around the table. I call it the peace table, and get them to get up and kiss and make up. You know,
Okay.
I don't like confrontation, and that's how I developed my communication. Plus, when I was a kid in school, I was supposedly, according to my headmaster, good at reciting poetry.
Okay.
And at the beginning, I was petrified when I was in 6th grade and 7th grade, standing in front of 1,200 people and, you know, to be or not to be and all that.
Right.
So that developed into getting confidence.
Okay. So do you agree that you need to have strong communication skills to be successful in business?
Very much so. Very
Okay.
much so. You know?
So for someone who's got stage fright, how do they overcome that? Is that something you also can train
Of
people?
course. I remember what Joseph Kennedy told his sons, you know, John Kennedy and Edward and Bobby, about the fear of being in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you are in a boardroom with some important people around and you're uptight and scared, he said, close your eyes and imagine everybody is sitting on the toilet naked, and that
Does
will
that
give you
really work?
that will give you confidence. And actually, it's a known fact that after death, which is the number one fear for people,
Uh-huh.
the second biggest fear is standing and speaking in public.
It used to be mine as well.
Uh-huh.
I would probably get 10 needles before I would stand
You know
in
what
front
I
of a
tell
crowd.
people? What's the worst thing that could happen?
Mhm.
If you messed up, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, you're gonna, like this thing here. We
Uh-huh.
spilled, you know,
Right.
I don't know if it was on the air or
You
not.
keep on. Oh,
What's
we
the
were.
worst that could happen? You know, imagine the worst, live it, and you'll
Right.
be able to deal with it.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's a really good way of overcoming it. That's true. So, what would you tell a person who they're very introverted, but they're also a business owner, so they have to have that skill?
Well, I'd like to quote Parkinson in regard to the communication. He said, the lack of communication creates a void that is quickly filled with doubt, fear, anxiety, poison, and innuendo.
Okay.
And that's what's happening on a daily basis in our life. People don't communicate or don't know how to communicate.
Okay.
So I put in my lectures throughout the years a few points in regard to how to conduct healthy communication.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one in my list is listen. I said, listen,
That's
listen, listen. And that's jokingly we say, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. This way we can listen twice as much as we talk.
I like
But
that.
most people do not apply that rule. They won't, you know.
Mhm.
So listening is important. And when people don't listen, they don't respond accordingly, and it creates problems. I would like to give just a unique, simple example. I've lived in the area where
Uh-huh.
where I lived on Potomac and San Felipe for about 20 some years.
Okay.
Whenever I have an appointment with someone or someone to come visit, I give them directions. God is my witness. I know how to come to my house. I give exact direction. If you're coming 59,
Mhm.
take View exit, go north, turn left on Westheimer, da da da. And because they were not listening, they call me and they're late.
They end up on Nantucket.
And they call me. No, they call me and they were close to Fondren on Westheimer.
because they weren't
And they
listening.
get angry at me for giving them because they don't listen. When you don't listen, you create so many problems for you and
Absolutely.
for everybody else.
That's true. Well, I don't want to be greedy. Let me see, Dr. Kiva, if she has any questions for you. Dr. Kiva, you got
No.
anything you'd like to
I know
ask Riyadh?
I know it's difficult to communicate on Zoom, but so you were
Doctor, do you
speaking-
mind if you can speak a bit louder? I could barely hear you. I'm sorry.
Let's see, can you hear me better now?
A little bit better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So you were speaking on public speaking. So what about personal interactions with individuals? Do you help couples to be able to communicate?
Yes, that goes under me being what I call a life coach, And what I do is I like to have them recorded. This way they can see themselves.
Yes.
Because people don't see themselves.
Mhm.
And when I first started doing television, and after I'm the worst self-critic ever, I said, oh my God. And that's happened all the time. So when we have them communicate with us and with each other, and they see themselves, we're able to point out some of the points that they need to improve upon.
That's good. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're of course going to get more in depth with your communication, as well as some networking tips that you can give us.
Yay.
All right, so you guys hang on. We'll be right back with Mr. Riyadh Abu Taha and Dr. Kiva. Hey y'all, I'm Robin B.
And I'm Dr. Kiva.
And we just want to know
How you living?
Join us every Monday
At noon Central Standard Time.
here on Edge Radio TV. Take care.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters. When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Are you living just to get by? Are you
And we are back with Mr. Riyad Abu Taha, one of my favorite Renaissance men. And we're so happy that you had here. We had a little misstep on Monday, but we recovered just like that. So thank you.
We had to cancel at the last minute.
Thank you.
Due to the technical difficulty.
And it really was. But that's okay. You know what I say? It was meant to be on Monday.
Very much
It was
so.
meant to be today
Very
for a
much
reason. And my beautiful niece is in the audience. Hey, Chantal.
She's gorgeous.
Isn't she gorgeous? So thanks for being part of the audience today. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, do you have a favorite icebreaker? You probably have several. Let's say you're in a group of dreary audience members. How do you loosen them up?
People talk about icebreaker and they try to invent something. And when you try to invent something to say or do, you're mechanical, you're not natural.
Okay.
Just be yourself and just carry on a conversation, especially with men who, when they go out and they want to meet women, they start fluffing themselves up and, and want to have that icebreaker. And most of the time it's very stupid, very offensive, and it turns them off.
Okay,
just be yourself.
In terms of public speaking, most people say you start with a joke.
Oh, humor
That's what
is the
I
most
mean.
important thing.
I don't mean like at the bar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about. But for when they introduce me, most of the time I speak to breakfast people, like Chamber of Commerce, and sometimes most people are still asleep, or at 7 a.m. So they introduce me, and I get on. I said, "Good morning," and nobody answers.
Right.
So I act like I'm on stage, and I act like Chuck. I say, "Wait a minute, wait a minute." I love my audience to be alive. I like them to be full of zest, healthy. Everybody stand up. And they start looking around and said, look to your right, look to your left, and give each one a hug around you.
There you
should
go.
see the energy in the room.
That's an icebreaker.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I like that. And it works, right?
Yeah, it's humorous.
Okay, that's good. Have you ever stumbled, like if you forgot what your presentation was about? Has that ever happened?
Well, when I was young, because I was still not used to this lifestyle. And I used to recite poetry in front of the king and many people, dignitaries. And I would not sleep the night before, thinking about what my headmaster, which is called principal here, insisted. But doing this for so long developed self-confidence. But we are all, even Frank Sinatra said, when he gets on stage, before he gets on, he's a little bit nervous, he has butterflies, And for someone to tell you they are dead, they're not alive.
That is very interesting.
So
what I do here is take that nervousness and turn it into good energy, so that you won't be you're a little bit nervous, but use that adrenaline and make it work for you.
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so.
So yeah, the first time I ever had to speak in front of a crowd, I literally had to psych myself and tell myself, you love being the center of attention, which is the opposite of but it worked. I had to convince myself I wanted everybody to look at me. Otherwise, I would have fainted.
I tell people, imagine the worst thing that could happen if you fumble, if you spill coffee, if you fall, Imagine all that and think about it, and you can live through it.
You're going to live through it. If it's
and
not a life or death.
people, by the way, to build confidence. Your family might think you're crazy. Go to the bathroom in front of the mirror and get a newspaper and read out loud and talk to yourself.
That's a good practice. Okay, that's the kind of stuff
we're
looking for.
In the art of sales, we teach that.
Very good. I didn't know that. Okay, I like that idea. So, Dr. Kiva, you got anything? We want to keep you in the mix. Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you so much. You know what I was wondering? It's like a lot of times people want to become motivational speakers and want to be able to go out in public and start to, I guess, do public speaking for, what is your advice for someone who wants to start to get into that circuit of becoming a motivational speaker? What steps could they take, and even to start to practice?
Well, first, if you have that interest, do it on your own. As I said, just imagine yourself being an anchor on newscasts, stand in front of the mirror, take a newspaper or a book and read out loud, not, whisper, read out loud and talk to yourself. And there is, I forgot the name of the club that they develop speakers. They meet every week. Something club.
I think Toastmasters.
Toastmasters and
that's also a good way of doing it.
Dale Carnegie, is that the other one?
Toastmasters.
Oh, Toastmasters. Okay.
You become a member. Okay. And then the other thing is listen to other successful speakers and watch their movement, watch their delivery, watch their language, watch their feelings. And if you really have that interest, You can do it, but it takes time, especially if you haven't done it as a youngster.
That's good. That's very good to know. Okay, so as far as networking is concerned,
Can we go? I mean, I still have a few points I want to talk about
of
in the art of
course.
communication.
Oh, sure.
We
We're
said the
still-
first item is listen.
Okay.
The second is you've got to enjoy having a good conversation.
Yes.
And that reminds me of when we were kids back home, where every member of the family sits around the table, the dinner table, and we talk to each other, find out about our day, whether it's school, whether it's work. And when I came to Fort Worth in 1960s, one is 83 years old and her daughter is 60 years old, and they were retired, and they loved me and they adopted me. So every afternoon, we'd go and sit in the front porch. The neighbors would walk in with their iced tea, and we'd sit down on the steps and talk to each other. This does not happen anymore.
Right.
So you've got to enjoy communication.
Okay.
The next part is giving a clear message.
Okay.
We have the thought in our mind right here. We understand it. We know it. But by the time that thought travels from here to come out here, it comes different than we meant it.
Okay.
So people do not understand it. We get mad at them because they didn't respond. It's not their fault. And let me give an example. A friend of mine who's a child psychologist, and he was telling about little Billy, 4-year-old Billy, running around the house with a toy gun, and he runs in the street, pow, 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 and his mother was concerned.
Okay.
So her message to her, Billy, if you continue running in the street with the gun in your hand, I'm going to have to take it away from you. Innocent little Billy thought he's not allowed to run in the street with a gun, so he runs, gives her a gun, and run in the street. Her message here, clear message to him should be, Billy, you cannot run in the street, honey, it's dangerous.
Right.
So delivery is important.
That's good.
Giving a clear message. Delivery, that is so funny. Again, the way you say things, you can say to someone good morning and make them happy. You can say good morning and they're offended. And I love citing examples about my son. When your child, does something wrong or misbehave, you want to teach them how to. So you tell them, Firas, my son's name is Firas, you need to apologize. He's angry and he stumps his foot and goes, well, I'm sorry. I said, no, honey, that's not acceptable. And he goes, Dad, you told me to say I'm sorry, I said it. I told him, honey, it's not that you said it.
It's delivery.
It's the way you said it.
Right.
And in art of sales, we say if your client does not understand, go simplify it. So give him an example. So I gave him an example for him to understand as a child. Firas, we're sitting watching TV, having a great time. Out of nowhere, the front door crashes. And it's the angry mailman. And he has a package and he throws it in your lap and said, here, sign for this. So compared to sitting another time, watching TV, and there's a knock at the door. You go and open the door, and there's another mailman. Good morning, sir. How you doing? Are you enjoying this weather? I have a package for you. Can you please sign for it? And have a nice day. I told Firas, both mailman deliver the same exact package. Which delivery you like better? He said, of course, the second one. I said, exactly. Right. There's a difference between I'm sorry and Daddy, I'm really sorry.
Right.
So delivery is important.
Absolutely. And something they always say is that they may not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then make it simple. Most people like to elaborate in their language. And for your question earlier, Doctor, when you said, how can they develop to be speakers? Some of them think that they can impress the crowd or the audience by using important words, very complicated words people do not understand. No, don't make them put them, in a puzzlement where they don't understand what you're saying. Simplify it. Use plain old language.
You know who used to be guilty of that, of all people? Katie Couric. She had a habit of using words no one's ever heard of before.
Who's that?
Katie Couric. She used to be on the Today Show.
Oh, I love Katie Couric.
Yeah, but she had a bad habit of using words no one's ever heard of before. Well, it's like she wanted to show off her vocabulary, and that's kind of a no-no when you're speaking to the masses.
Make it, you remember KISS? K-I-S-S?
Yes.
You know what that stands for?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
Yeah, most people like to elaborate. And the last point I like to bring is accuracy and honesty. Get to be honest with what you communicate.
Okay.
Don't lie about it. Don't try to make yourself bigger than you are.
Right.
Be simple and be practical.
That's good. So another question I have regarding speaking to large crowds. Do you think it's better to memorize the speech or just memorize points and then speak organically to every point?
Well, after some practice, you will be able to remember. But it's a good idea to have notes,
Okay,
And I'm the
okay.
old-fashioned type. I don't use electronics and pointers and things like this.
Okay.
I like these things, just like Ross Perot. He used to use the chart.
Did he do that?
He used to use charts,
Okay.
just handwritten
I
charts.
remember. He was a flowery guy.
I loved him.
He was a very
I met
entertaining
him in Dallas
dude.
before he ran for president. Yeah.
Okay, so I think what you said was the most famous person that you enjoyed the most was Cher.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And in the entertainment business.
Okay.
But I met a lot of people in politics. I love George Bush Sr.
Uh-huh.
We had developed a very nice friendship, and we had dinners as guests of Dorita McLean, and we visited several times. And I begged him to interview him for my TV show, for my journal. He said, Riyadh, I'm not doing an interview after he retired,
Okay.
But he's so sweet and he's so down to earth,
He's definitely a nice guy. He seemed to be a very nice guy. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back in a few minutes. And then we'll talk a little bit more about networking and how you managed it through the pandemic.
Ditto.
All right, guys, we will be right back again with Riyadh Abu Taha.
Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky? How you living? How you living? Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky?
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Edge Radio TV is holding auditions for new show hosts. Are you a subject matter expert, professional, influencer, book author, thought leader, or business owner with an educational or motivational platform? Then we want to meet you. Send a link of some of your work to edgeradio20@gmail.com and be sure to put audition in the subject line. Join the Edge Radio TV family. Edge TV, because truth still matters.
We are back with Mr. Riyad Abu Taha, and he was just complimenting our audience member, our beautiful niece, Chantel. Anyway, you, I understand, just had a birthday. However, your birthday, because of who you are, it lasts the entire month of April.
Actually,
Okay.
it goes beyond, and I still get
And then
celebrations
beyond.
in May and things.
Well, even though we haven't seen each other literally in 22 years, I didn't forget your birthday.
Oh
So
my God.
I would
Oh my
very
God.
much love to
I'm
give
blushing.
you a birthday gift. Okay, so happy birthday. And
Look at this
it's
beautiful
simple.
bag.
I like to give gifts of health. So this is from my tea company. And
Okay.
it's and let me show you what it is. It's this bottle, which is a tea infuser bottle.
You are so clever.
And lavender tea, our most exotic tea. It's lavender rooibos. So enjoy, use it in good health.
Well,
Take
thank
it
you.
with
I want to hold it and show
Okay.
it on camera.
Let me know how
I'm
you
gonna
like
be Vanna
it.
White.
Right. So happy birthday.
Thank you, my darling.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
very
very
much.
welcome. So
That's
before,
very sweet.
Oh, my pleasure.
That's very
So
sweet.
before we went off the air, I think we were going to get in a little bit. I wanted to talk to you about networking.
Yeah, the art of networking.
So because of the pandemic, how do you incorporate the art of networking without being in person?
Well, it's been very difficult, and almost all activities, whether Chamber of Commerce, Rotary clubs, and networking organization, just came to a halt.
Right,
You know.
right.
But if we're going to talk about networking, we'll talk about the history of it, and how to also conduct what I call healthy networking.
Great.
Okay.
That sounds good.
When I was a kid back home, we have the neighborhood store, grocery
Okay.
store, like they used to have here during the days of the Waltons and
Uh-huh.
things. And I was, surprised and puzzled where my family, my mother would send me to the grocery store and tell him, my father asked me to come and get dozen eggs or this and that, and he give them to me. I didn't have to pay for it.
Mhm.
What I found out, he used to put all those things in the back of a brown bag.
Yes.
At the end of the month, my father for it.
Mhm.
And later on in years when I came here, I realized that what we're doing a classic case of networking, using someone else's name to get what you want.
Oh, that's good.
You know?
Okay.
And what is networking? Is people helping people.
Mhm.
All right. And we live in the Southwest where we have great friendly folks, and that's part of our life. And I put also, if you don't mind, a few points about networking.
Okay.
Network to network. A lot of people go to an event. I'm talking about in the old days before social media. That was the thing, and they have no clue if this is going to benefit them, if they're going to benefit them too. So ask people about which is the best networking or group that can fit your need.
Okay.
Second one, do not become a networking junkie.
Okay.
People would go in the old days. They used to go networking to restaurants and clubs. They used to have happy hour and food, and they go and just to have fun, and they don't meet people. They don't know how to meet people.
Right. They hang out by the shrimp.
Exactly. And another thing is the big mistake that they used to do. They go together, two friends, and they spend the entire night
with their
together
own-
and talk. That's not the
Absolutely.
purpose of you coming there.
Well, that requires discipline. You've got to get out of that comfort zone.
And that takes training.
Absolutely.
That takes training. Prepare yourself before you go networking.
Okay.
I say business card, don't leave home without it. That's very important. You've got to get yourself ready emotionally,
Okay.
physically. You have to dress real nice, be professional, and like this. It makes a big difference.
That's good.
And number 4, again, listen. A lot of people will meet someone that start want to tell them about themselves. No,
Right.
listen to the other person,
Because you might miss
And-
that blessing.
and you find out
You're
how
busy
you can help
talking.
them.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
the essence of networking, it's how you help people, and it comes back at you.
Absolutely.
And another point is never judge. A lot of people go to networking events and they see someone and say, "Oh, that doesn't look like would be a good prospect for me." I said, the best deal that were ever made were from the most unlikely people.
Absolutely.
Someone that not dressed very well, he
Mhm.
can be the $1 million deal.
That's right.
You know,
You should not judge. That's good.
follow up.
That's
That
good.
is the most important.
That is, and that is probably the biggest problem.
It
that
is
a
the biggest
lot-
problem.
It's hard to really be focused, and I got to tell you, from a personal standpoint, I'm always super impressed. After I met someone, and the very next day I get an email from them, I'm like, that's what I should be doing.
Well, most people do not practice proper follow-up.
Yeah.
They meet you today at a
Mhm.
networking event. They
Mhm.
get your card. The next day, Robin, how are you? My name is Riyad. I met you. I would like to talk to you about insurance. That's a no-no.
Mhm.
You call them or you send them a note in the old days. Now with social media,
Mhm.
it was nice meeting you. I would like to get together with you for a lunch
Yeah.
to find how I can be of support to you.
Absolutely.
They're open to
Absolutely.
us. Everybody wants something from me and to sell me something, and this one, so that opens the door. So follow up is important.
That's good.
Acknowledgement. Acknowledge people when they do something. If they give you a lead to get a job or to do a sale, call them to thank them.
Congratulate
Send them
them.
flowers. Take
Okay.
them to coffee. You
That's
know?
good. That's
Important.
very good. You're
But the most important
humanizing
thing
the whole process.
the most important thing is practicing common sense in outdoor networking.
That's very good. So,
I do
one
have
of
a
the
question about that.
Say that
So do you
again.
think that, so do you think that a lot of times people are so in their head that they won't allow themselves to really network and go talk to people? I mean, that internal dialogue of, self-judging. How does someone get over the thoughts that are in their head in order to go open communication with someone that they've never met before?
Well, there is. I mean, I teach the art of networking on a personal one-on-one, or in a group. Plus, there's books that have been published about the art of the art of networking. So, if you're really serious about this, you need to read those books. You need to go to lectures. You need to go to courses, and that will help you on your networking efforts. And networking, I mean, especially for people are in sales. And each and every one of us are in sales. Whether you're a doctor, you're selling your service.
Right.
Whether you're a mechanic, whether you're a salesperson. So you need to go there and meet people face to face and connect with them, acknowledge them, follow up with them the proper way, and it start working.
That's very good. That's very good advice. What do you think about that, Dr. Kiva?
I do believe that we're all in sales for sure.
It really
Every
is.
time you open your mouth, you're selling yourself in a
That's true.
sense
That's
for
good.
people to get interested in for sure.
Actually, I'd like to go back about humor
That's
when you talk
good.
about public speaking humor. When I told you that when they introduced me, I get everyone to stand up and hug and thing, and there's a lot of energy in the room. So after they sit down, I tell them, ladies and gentlemen, this exercise teaches us to listen. I told them, first of all, I don't know you from Adam, but I created the element of trust between you and me, where I got you to stand up, I got you to hug, and all those. I tell them, each and every one of the salesmen, if you establish that element of trust, you can sell them anything.
So do they really get up and hug each other?
Oh my! You should see the energy in the room.
Wow.
And jokingly, I had to, and they continue. I said, okay, let's not get carried away. Sit down, everybody. And they love that energy. I mean,
like
7 o'clock in the morning, they're going like this, and before
Right.
that, like this,
That's good. And they get to hug that person they thought was cute anyway, right?
That's why I said, don't get carried away
did,
now.
as I did, you did some people a favor, so that's pretty cool.
That's the whole idea behind it.
With that thought in mind, what Dr. Kiva said, it's kind of a segue for me, and I'm gonna do a little self-promotion. I am very excited to announce, because of there's a place I like to eat a lot. I go there a lot. It's the only place I ate during COVID because they had outside service was amazing, or all fresh food. Well, I would talk to the management every time I would go, and so one of my last visits there, I said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in having my tea here?" Do you know they actually said, yes, sure. So I gave them a bunch to try. And last time Dr. Kiva and I talked, I said, well, they were thinking about it. Well, they just bought a batch of all my different teas, and we actually set it up. And it's a local restaurant in Stafford. I'm very, very excited because it's the beginning. They have restaurants all across the country, but it's called Whiskey Cake. Okay. And so now they'll be carrying my teas. And I believe that was because of the way I communicated with them.
That's exactly.
And my networking.
That's exactly
So
true.
something like that could really pay off. So thank you.
Very much so.
And I appreciate
Like I said,
that.
that you practice one of the most important aspects of healthy networking is follow-up. You did not go the first time and said, well, I'd like for you to try my tea.
Right.
You went again and again. You establish that rapport. Then you establish that trust, and then they'll listen.
Yeah.
Okay?
So thank you. I think there's a lot of things that you're saying right now that people could take and use immediately.
Very much so. Very much so.
So are you excited about this pandemic almost coming to an end?
Well,
because you could get back to what you do. What you do best.
it's really a very, very disturbing situation about what took place. And if it was handled the proper way, the combination of officials and government and the public was not cooperating. Some of the public were not cooperating.
Right.
And that's why we have the second and third waves and everything like this. And my hope, being in the art of natural health and healing,
Right.
is for people to start practicing discipline,
Hmm.
and for officials to start practicing discipline,
Right.
and hopefully it'll happen soon.
Well, we have time if you want to touch on that a little about your natural health and healing. Is that something that you practice?
Very much so. When we were kids back home, back in the 50s and 60s, I'm aging myself now. People did not have refrigerators.
Right.
They had that little, what do you call it?
Ice box? My dad always called it
No.
an ice box.
It's a little kind of like a cabinet where you put the food, a pantry.
Oh.
Pantry, okay. And the reason is because everything was brought to us on a daily basis, fresh.
Okay.
The meat daily, the vegetable. My mother would tell my father what we need the night before, and he'd send it. So there's no need to store. So everything was healthy.
Right.
Everything was fresh. And we used to go to the fields, and there's farmers that you go to the field and you can pick, lettuce, you can pick anything, and you go and pay for it. Everything is fresh. Now everything is poisoned with, GMO and all that, So it makes a big difference. So I grew up where I went to 12 years of school. I never missed a day of school.
Oh, wow.
Through sickness,
Okay.
It's the same thing with my son. I raised my son as a single father, as you know.
Okay.
With sugar never entered our house. Coca-Cola, soft drinks, everything is natural and healthy. It makes a big difference.
Oh, yes, it does. And Dr. Kiva will agree with you. She's a vegan. So
And-
she's a very strict eater. And she's trying to convert me as best she can.
I'm trying.
Well,
it's
I
a
call it the
process.
best thing
It's hard.
Best thing to practice is preventive measures.
Yes.
If it hurts, don't do it, for God's sake.
Right.
And I use a joke that my son told me when he was in daycare. He was 3.5 years old. He said, "Dad, I have a joke for you." I said, "What is it?" He said, "A man goes to the doctor and he said, doctor, it hurts when I do that." The doctor said, "Don't do that." So I say, if it hurts, don't do it, for God's sake.
There you go.
If
That's
you drink like crazy, if you do drugs and you hurt the next day, don't do it, and you'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Preventive measures. And what we say is, 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you being here very much. If anyone wants to get in touch with you to get some training on communicating or networking, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, Facebook now is the really main media of contact with people. Go to my Facebook, Riyad Abu Taha, RIYADABU-TAHA, and you can find my friend with lovely Robin.
They can always track me down.
And we'll be happy to assist you. But I must warn you, I practice tough love. I tell people when they first start working with me.
He's no wilting flower,
and they pay me by the hour. I tell them, you're either going to love me or hate me. Either way, I don't care. I'm here to help you out. I'm going to practice tough love. And people are afraid of facing reality about themselves.
Well, I think Dr. Kiva has something she asks every guest before they leave.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you have so many nuggets that you can drop for us.
I have so many what?
Good nuggets.
Good
so many nuggets.
Oh,
so many
nuggets.
words
Nuggets. I'm sorry. Yes.
Words of wisdom. So if someone has really wants to get into public speaking, what kind of word of wisdom can you get them to start their journey?
Do you mind repeating?
Okay, if somebody they need some words of wisdom from you, what would be the best thing you could tell someone who wants to get into that world? How would they start their journey? What's the best way for someone to start that journey?
Once again, be yourself. You can make the worst someone else and the best of you.
That's good.
Be yourself. Build your confidence if you're really interested by standing in front of the mirror and talking to yourself. Make sure that your family are not there. They're going to think you're crazy. And read to yourself, and then seek some help, professional help in regards to the art of public speaking, whether it's other public speakers, trainers. Go take courses and video yourself. You will be surprised about how much you can improve by look at yourself and say, "Oh my God, did I say that?
That's a really good idea.
I should have said that." So that's how you can do it.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today. You are wonderful. I know time goes by pretty fast.
Oh my God, we're done.
It's
I want to stay here longer. I'm enjoying this.
Well, you're a natural. That's why you definitely were made to be in front of the camera. So thank you so much for being our guest. You want to have something else you got to say before we take off?
No, you mentioned that, but I'm so proud of this.
You should be.
I've been part of the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation for over 22 years. And the founder is a dear friend of mine. She's actually a federal judge, Clarice Yates. 20 years ago, I was selected as one of Houston's best dressed men. And 2 years ago, on their 20-year anniversary, she called me to inform me that I was selected to be a living legend.
That is amazing. That
I
is
said,
very.
wait a minute. What
That's
did I
heavy.
do? She said, Riyadh, you've done so much and like this. I actually cried. So it was a great honor to be a living legend. And when they put me on stage, and I said, I don't know why they select me one of best dressed men in humor.
Oh, you are still one of the best dressed men in.
I told my shop at Walmart.
Well, that's a Walmart I haven't seen yet. So very interesting. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for being part of our group today. Dr. Kiva, I miss you. Hopefully I'll see you next Monday.
I'll be there with bells on.
Yay! And thank you, Chantel, for being part of our audience today. And I'm not sure how it's going to work with me, Dr. Kiva, by Zoom. So you're going to have to help me.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for being persistent about, even before getting on TV on your show, I wanted to see you, and I kept insisting for many years, and you were so stingy with your time. But I want to thank you, and we as Middle Eastern, when we put our hand on our heart, talking to someone, that's the biggest honor and the biggest respect.
Left hand or right
love.
hand? Right hand
Just
over the left
on your
heart. There
yeah.
you go.
So I thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. It really is. And so, everybody, we'll see you next Monday if the good Lord's willing. And in the meantime, we always have to ask, how you living?
How you
Remember,
living?
don't worry, be happy.
See you next week.